The alien classroom grew quiet when the Deathworld apex predator sat beside a human child. The cafeteria of Galactic Academy buzzed with dozens of different sounds. Chirps, clicks, hums, and musical tones mixed together as students from across the galaxy ate their lunch. Maya Chen stood at the entrance with her tray, feeling very small. She was 10 years old and very far from Earth. The cafeteria was huge, much bigger than her school back home. The ceiling stretched high above, showing a view of the stars outside the station. Tables floated at different heights to accommodate species of all sizes. Some students ate upside down, others needed water tanks, a few glowed in the dark corners. Maya took a deep breath and walked forward. The noise around her dropped, not all at once, but like a wave. Students noticed her and grew quiet. They stared, some pointed. A few moved their trays away as she passed. Maya tried to smile. She knew why they acted this way. Humans were new to the galactic community. Only 6 months had passed since Earth joined, and humans came from a Deathworld, a dangerous planet. That made humans dangerous too, at least in the eyes of many aliens. She spotted an empty seat near a group of Floraxians. They looked like walking flowers with gentle faces. Maya headed toward them. Excuse me," she said softly. "Can I sit here?" Her tray felt heavier with each rejection. Back on Earth, making friends had been easy. Here, she was the scary one. Finally, Maya found a spot at the edge of the cafeteria, a small table near the wall. She sat down alone and looked at her food. It was Earth food specially prepared, chicken and rice. Seeing it made her miss home even more. As she ate, Maya looked around the cafeteria. She tried to learn about the different species. The tall ones with crystal skin were Eldarians. The small ones that floated were Quillen. The ones with too many arms were Zenthari. Then she saw him. In the far corner at a table by himself sat the biggest student Maya had ever seen. He was at least 7 feet tall, covered in dark blue scales that shimmered under the lights. His body was muscular and powerful. His head was elongated, with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. When he moved his arm, Maya saw claws extend and retract from his fingers. She knew what he was, a Vrix. Her datapad had information about every species at the Academy. Vrix came from Vrixos Prime, a Category 9 Deathworld, even more dangerous than Earth, which was only Category 7. Vrix were apex predators, solitary hunters. Their claws could cut through metal. Their strength was legendary. The Vrix student ate alone, very alone. The tables around him were completely empty. No one sat within 20 feet of him. Maya felt a strange feeling in her chest. She knew that feeling, loneliness. She stood up, carrying her tray. Maybe she could sit near him, not at his table. That seemed too bold. But close enough to show she wasn't afraid. Maya started walking toward that corner. The cafeteria noise dropped again. This time it fell like a stone. Students stopped eating. Teachers at the edge of the room tensed. The human was walking toward the Vrix. Maya didn't notice the attention. She was focused on finding a table near the big alien student. But as she walked, her shoe caught on something. She stumbled. Her tray flew from her hands. Food scattered across the floor. Her drink splashed everywhere. The container rolled and bounced, stopping right at the feet of the Vrix. Maya's face turned red. "Oh no," she whispered. The entire cafeteria held its breath. The Vrix looked down at the container, then his 4 eyes moved up to stare at Maya. He was completely still. Maya walked forward slowly. Her heart beat fast, but not from fear. She was just embarrassed. She bent down and picked up the container. "I'm so sorry," she said, looking up at him. "I'm really clumsy today. Are you okay? Did any food hit you?" His 4 eyes blinked one at a time. He seemed confused. I'm fine," he said. His voice was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. Maya smiled. "That's good. I would feel terrible if I got food on you." She looked at the mess on the floor. "I should clean this up." "Not at your table," she added quickly. "I know everyone needs their space, but maybe at the table next to yours. And you seem nice." Behind her, the cafeteria slowly returned to normal. Students started talking again, though they kept glancing at the corner where the human and the Vrix had just spoken. The next day, Maya arrived at her xenobiology class early. She loved this subject. Learning about different aliens and their home planets was fascinating. The teacher, a kind Zenthari named Instructor Velm, greeted students as they entered. "Good morning, Maya. Please find a seat. Today we have assigned partners." Assigned partners meant she couldn't choose. What if she got paired with someone who was afraid of her? She sat down and waited. Other students filled the room. Then the door opened one more time. Keithril entered, ducking his head to fit through the doorway. The classroom grew quiet, very quiet. Instructor Velm checked his datapad. Keithril, you will be seated next to Maya Chen. He sat down carefully, his large frame making the desk seem small. Maya turned to him and whispered, "Hi again." A human and a Vrix sitting together, two Deathworld predators side by side. Instructor Velm cleared his throat. "Let us begin today's lesson." They were all watching the tiny human child and the massive alien predator, wondering what would happen next. The silence in the classroom felt thick enough to touch. 20 pairs of alien eyes stared at Maya and Keithril. Some students had moved their desks slightly away, creating a visible gap around the unusual pair. Instructor Velm tapped his datapad nervously. Even he seemed uncertain about this seating arrangement. But the assignments were random, generated by computer. He couldn't change them without a good reason. "Today," Velm began, his voice a bit shaky, "we will study planetary ecosystems. You will work with your partner to research and present information about different world types." She was excited. This was exactly the kind of project she loved. Beside her, Keithril moved slowly, carefully, as if afraid his size might cause problems. "Hi again," Maya whispered cheerfully, keeping her voice low so she wouldn't disturb the class. Keithril's 4 eyes focused on her. "Hello. Most beings haven't tried, so what planet should we research? Doesn't it have bioluminescent forests?" "It looked beautiful." "The deadly storms?" "You understand danger." "The caves contain crystals that vibrate with wind currents. They create sounds like music. Different caves have different tones. When I was young, my family took me to the caves of 7 echoes. The crystals there sing in harmony." They started focusing on their own work, though they still cast occasional glances toward the unusual pair. Instructor Velm relaxed slightly. The human and Vrix were actually working well together. After 15 minutes of productive discussion, a Floraxian student named Petal approached their desk. Her flower-like petals were pale pink, and she moved with obvious nervousness. "Excuse me," Petal said softly, speaking to Maya. "I was wondering if you might want to switch partners. I could work with Keithril and you could join my original partner, for safety. It is just that Vrix are very strong and... But are you not afraid?" "Sorry to interrupt." She hurried back to her desk. After she left, Keithril spoke very quietly. "You did not have to refuse. It would be easier for you to work with someone else. Besides, you haven't told me about the ocean zones yet. Does Vrixos Prime have oceans?" She pulled up images on her datapad. "Look, these are blue whales. They're the biggest animals on Earth, way bigger than humans. They're super smart. And here are sharks, they're predators, some of the best in Earth's oceans. We just learned to use tools and work together. That's how we survived. But your species succeeded differently." Maya and Keithril worked steadily on their project, creating an outline comparing Earth and Vrixos Prime ecosystems. They found many similarities despite the differences in danger levels. When the bell rang, signaling the end of class, students began packing their things. Maya gathered her datapad and notebooks. Keithril stood up, his massive frame towering over the desks. "Maya," he said, his deep voice careful and formal. "Yeah. Would you want to continue working on this project after school? The library has private study rooms. We could research more effectively there." 16th hour. She didn't hear the whispers that followed her into the hallway. All she knew was that she had made a friend. A real friend. And that friend happened to be a 7-foot-tall apex predator from one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy. Behind her, Keithril watched her leave. For the first time since arriving at Galactic Academy, he felt something other than loneliness. He felt hope. The biodome gardens stretched across 3 levels of the station. Real plants from dozens of worlds grew under carefully controlled atmospheres. Maya loved this place. It felt alive in a way the metal corridors didn't. She found Keithril waiting near the Earth section. He stood very still, looking at a small oak tree. His massive form seemed out of place among the delicate plants. "Hi," Maya called out, waving. Keithril turned, all 4 eyes brightening. "Hello, Maya, I arrived early. I hope that is acceptable." A human child and a Vrix walking side by side was not something anyone expected to see. Some people moved away quickly. Others whispered behind their hands. Maya noticed but didn't comment. Keithrel noticed too. His shoulders tensed slightly. They found a quiet corner near a fountain, water from 6 different worlds mixed together in beautiful patterns. Maya sat on a bench and pulled out her datapad. Keithrel sat beside her, careful not to take up too much space. So, Maya began, opening their project file. We've covered the basic ecosystems. Should we talk about how different species adapt to? Why are you not afraid of me? She put down her datapad. Can I ask you something back? I could hurt someone too if I wanted to. Humans can be pretty dangerous, but I don't want to hurt anyone, so people shouldn't be afraid of me just because I'm human. It is not that simple for most beings. That's what makes a good friend, not what planet you're from. But here on this station, being alone feels different. Everyone thinks humans are these brave, fearless warriors, but I'm just a kid. I miss my parents. I miss my friends from Earth, and I want to make new friends here, but everyone is scared of me. But you are so confident, so unafraid. She said the bravest people are often the ones who feel scared, but keep trying anyway. Thank you, Keithrel said finally, for choosing to be my friend. Keithrel explained the hunting patterns of Rixo's predators. Maya described Earth's rainforests and deserts. They found that despite the differences, life found similar solutions to similar problems across the galaxy. After an hour, Maya's stomach growled loudly. Keithrel's ears twitched. You are hungry. The Quillins were small, fluffy beings from a peaceful world. They looked like floating cotton balls with large eyes. One of the Quillins, a student named Thistle, stared at Maya and Keithrel with obvious concern. As they passed, Thistle whispered to her friends loudly enough for Maya to hear. Why would she walk with him? Doesn't she know how dangerous Vrix are? I did not mean for you to hear that. Can you say hi to Thistle? Maybe instead of believing what everyone says, you could actually try talking to people. You might be surprised. We all are. Red lights flashed along the walls. Attention, a mechanical voice announced. Power fluctuation detected in Biodome Section 3. Minor fire reported. All visitors please evacuate calmly. Where other students might still be. Smoke began drifting through the corridors. People started moving toward the exits, but there was confusion. Some went the wrong way, others panicked. Without thinking, Maya stood up. We need to help. Agreed. People pushed past them, trying to get away from the danger. This way, Keithrel said, his voice calm despite the chaos. His superior vision could see through the smoke better than most species. They entered Section 3. The fire was small but growing, caused by sparking wires near a climate control panel. Flames licked at decorative plants and wooden benches. The heat made the air shimmer. Maya heard crying. She turned and saw 3 young Quillin students huddled in a corner. They were so scared they couldn't move. The main exit was blocked by fallen branches from a large tree. Over there, Maya pointed. Keithrel saw them immediately. He moved quickly, his powerful body making the distance disappear in seconds. The young Quillins saw him coming and cried harder, terrified of the massive predator approaching through the smoke. It is all right, Keithrel said softly. I am here to help. Maya ran up beside Keithrel. Hey, it's okay, she called out in her friendliest voice. We're going to get you out. The fire isn't big yet, but we need to move fast. We're going to help you get to safety. Step back, he instructed gently. Keithrel extended his claws. With careful precision, he cut through the branches, creating an opening. His strength made the work quick. Within seconds, a clear path appeared. There, Keithrel said. You can pass through now. Come on, follow me. You are welcome. Please get to safety now. Keithrel used his strength to move a heavy table that had tipped over, blocking another path. By the time they emerged from the gardens, emergency crews had arrived. The fire was quickly contained. No one was hurt. Standing near the entrance was Counselor Vesh, the station's principal. She was an Eldarian, tall and elegant, with crystalline skin that reflected light in rainbow patterns. Her expression was thoughtful as she watched Maya and Keithrel emerge from the smoke. You too, Vesh called out. Come here, please. And effective. We have done nothing wrong. I have been receiving complaints from some parents. They worry about having Deathworld students in classes with their children. But I have also been receiving positive reports from teachers. They say you work well together. That you help each other learn. And you too will be team leaders for one group. Students who, frankly, need to learn what you two already understand. And one nervous Zenthari who kept all 6 of her arms wrapped around herself. The room was silent, uncomfortable. The other students sat as far from Maya and Keithril as possible. Counselor Vesh had given them their assignment: design a space station module that could accommodate 5 different species types. It required understanding diverse needs and creative problem-solving. So, Maya began cheerfully, should we introduce ourselves? I'm Maya. I'm from Earth. I like reading and space exploration. I enjoy studying planetary geology and crystalline structures. What about quillins? And strong structural materials, vricks are heavy. But after 30 minutes, a problem emerged. The Floraxian student named Petal suggested a design that would work perfectly for plant-based species, but would be uncomfortable for everyone else. That won't work for Keithril, Maya pointed out gently. The humidity would be too high. That's the whole point of this project. We need to find solutions that work for everyone, not just the majority. He knows about extreme environments. Keithril on Vrixos Prime, how do you deal with different temperature zones? It gave Maya an idea. What if we designed zones, she suggested. Different sections of the module with different conditions, connected by transition areas. Hexel proposed modular furniture. Even Petal added useful thoughts about air filtration. Keithril provided crucial information about structural engineering, drawing from Vrix building techniques designed for extreme gravity. By the end of the session, they had a rough design. It wasn't perfect, but it was creative. It incorporated everyone's input. As the group prepared to leave, Thistle approached Keithril hesitantly. I wanted to say thank you, she said softly, for saving us in the gardens and for being patient with us today. I was wrong about you. The integration program was working, but she also saw the message waiting in her inbox. A formal complaint from a wealthy Zenthari diplomat demanding that Deathworld students be separated from civilized species. The real challenge was just beginning. The auditorium was packed. Students, parents, teachers, and station officials filled every seat. More stood along the walls. The air buzzed with tense conversations. Maya sat in the front row beside Keithril. Her hands were shaking. She had never spoken in front of so many people before. Especially not about something this important. You do not have to do this, Keithril whispered, his deep voice gentle. I do not want you to feel pressured. We both should speak. We are here to discuss the integration program and address concerns that have been raised. I wanted to say thank you. I believe the integration program should continue. This program is helping our children grow. I must speak against this dangerous experiment, Trevix announced, his voice loud and confident. We are exposing our children to Deathworld predators, species that evolved to hunt and dominate. My daughter should not have to sit beside beings whose very nature is violent. Humans come from a world so dangerous that most civilized species would not survive there. These are facts. We cannot ignore biology. We cannot pretend that predator and prey can simply coexist peacefully in a classroom setting. The room divided visibly. Those who supported integration on one side, those who opposed it on the other. More parents spoke. Some shared Trevix's fears, others defended the program. A Zenthari mother talked about how her daughter had overcome her shyness. A Quillan father worried about safety. Back and forth, the debate continued. Maya felt her stomach twist into knots. She looked at Keithril. His 4 eyes were fixed on the floor. His whole body seemed smaller somehow, as if he was trying to disappear. Finally, Counselor Vesh spoke. Does any student wish to address the assembly? Keithril's massive claw rested gently beside hers. You can do this, he whispered. You are braver than you know. Counselor Vesh adjusted the microphone down to Maya's height. Maya looked out at hundreds of faces. Her mouth felt dry. Her hands gripped the podium edge. My name is Maya Chen, she began, her voice small but clear. I'm 10 years old, I'm from Earth. And I want to tell you about my friend. Nobody wanted to be my friend. Someone who looked as lonely as I felt. And when there was a fire in the gardens, he didn't run away. He ran toward danger to help students who were scared of him. On Earth, humans lived alongside animals much more dangerous than us. We didn't survive by being the strongest. We survived by being smart, by cooperating, by seeing potential in others instead of just seeing threats. The scariest thing in the galaxy isn't claws or teeth or strength. It's misunderstanding. It's deciding someone is dangerous before you even know them. It's being so afraid that you never give anyone a chance. Keithril is my friend, my best friend on this station, and I'm not afraid of him. Not because I'm brave, but because I know him, really know him. And I think that's what this program is about, knowing each other instead of fearing each other. Her legs felt weak, but she had said what she needed to say. For a moment the auditorium was completely silent. Then Keithril stood. His massive form rose to its full height. Several people gasped. Some moved back in their seats. Keithril walked to the podium slowly. He had to bend down to reach the microphone. "My name is Keithril," he said, his deep voice filling the room. "I am Vrix. Everything Ambassador Trevix said about my species is true. We are apex predators. We are strong. We evolved to hunt. But there is something else about Vrix that the Ambassador did not mention. We value honor. We value protecting those weaker than us. Our strength is meant to defend, not to harm. My ancestors taught that true warriors use power to shelter others, not to threaten them. Maya taught me something my own culture never could. She taught me that connection is not weakness. That friendship does not diminish strength, it multiplies it. And I hope that others here can learn to see past their fears too, because fear creates walls, understanding creates bridges." The small Quillen floated forward and stood beside Maya and Keithril. "I was afraid," she said simply, "but I'm not anymore." Then other students from different species, different worlds, different backgrounds, they formed a group around Maya and Keithril, showing their support. Even some parents stood. The Quillen mother whose daughter was saved, the Floraxian father, others followed. The room transformed. What had been divided became united, at least partially. Ambassador Trevix's face darkened with anger. He gathered his robes and stormed out of the auditorium. A few families followed him, but most stayed. Counselor Vesh returned to the podium. "The integration program will continue," she announced firmly. "And it will expand. Preliminary data shows improved academic performance, reduced conflicts, and increased cultural understanding. This is not an experiment. This is education at its finest." Thistle sat nearby, working on a datapad. 2 other students had joined their area, chatting comfortably. The classroom was no longer silent when Maya sat beside Keithril. It was filled with conversation, with laughter, with learning. "Good morning," Keithril said, his 4 eyes bright. "Good morning," Maya replied cheerfully. Instructor Velm began the lesson. Today they were studying symbiotic relationships, different species helping each other survive. Maya smiled. She looked around at the diverse students working together. At Keithril beside her, no longer isolated. They had become their own kind of symbiosis. Different species from different worlds, learning that their differences made them stronger together. The Deathworld predator and the human child. 2 beings the galaxy feared. 2 friends who proved that understanding matters more than instinct. And that sometimes the bravest thing anyone can do is give someone a chance.